Hey, welcome to another episode of Chad's Beer Reviews. Doing a pretty big deal beer tonight, or at least a big beer. This is from Pontoon Brewing, Center of the Universe, Triple IPA, 10% ABV. And all we need to know is that it's made with Galaxy, Citra, and Mosaic hops. They're out of Sandy Springs, Georgia. Anyway, we get into the Spiegel IPA glass. And it looks like a hazy IPA. It's almost like a milkshake IPA. Man, that is completely, well, it's not opaque, but just you can't see through it at all. It looks like a glass of orange juice there. Nice big frothy, super creamy head, and it's still sticking around. But yeah, I think this would probably be best described as a hazy IPA instead of a triple IPA. I guess you could have both at the same time, but yeah. So just huge tropical citrus notes on here. So pineapple, mango, guava, grapefruit, maybe a little blood orange. You're getting this whole tropical smoothie aroma. Don't really get any base malt. Certainly nothing toasted, nothing spicy or anything like that. And for 10% ABV, wow. Did not smell it at all. It is. It's just the hops are just, I guess they're so strong here, they're masking the alcohol, but usually a 10% ABV, you can at least smell it, but I can't smell it at all. Let's see if I can taste it. All right, let's dive in. Cheers. Yeah. I can taste the alcohol a little, but there's a whole lot of other flavors going on here first. Interestingly enough, for an IPA, it is remarkably sweet. It's funny because I said it kind of looks like a tropical smoothie. It smells, it has almost like a tropical smoothie flavor to it. They could have called this a smoothie IPA. So yeah, like I said on the aroma, tropical fruits. I'd actually call it more tropical tasting than citrus. I don't really get that much citrus. Like maybe a little bit of pink grapefruit. Just those hops. Tropical citrus. It is not all that bitter. 10% ABV, you would think 100 IBUs. I don't think so. I think it's closer to 60, maybe even 50 or 40. It is not super bitter. That's pretty normal with hazy IPAs. By the way, we did a Tuesday night beer school on that a couple weeks ago, so check that out. So, just big tropical fruit flavor up front. Fairly low bitterness, and then it finishes with like this remarkably sweet maltiness, almost like if you ever had, I haven't thought of this in a long time, if you're homebrewing, the dry malt extract, if you ever actually tasted that dry malt extract, that's kind of the flavor I'm getting here. The alcohol does come through in the flavor. It is just a fairly neutral alcohol flavor, maybe like a tiny little bit of like a vanilla, almost like a rum kind of thing going on. So it's really, I'm really impressed on the fermentation control on this. Having 10% ABV, and like it's not like rubbing alcohol or anything like that. It's not futile. It just matches that intense palate really well. Yeah, there's like a vanilla kind of presence here. Almost as if it was aged on vanilla beans, but like without that sweetness. I think it's just a massive amount of malt. It's probably all 2-row. I'm not picking up on Pilsner. American breweries tend to use 2-row a lot, and just maybe like a little bit of some kind of specialty malt. But otherwise the hops are driving the show here. The yeast, I think, is pretty neutral. It could be like a really fruit, or fruity estery yeast, but it's not. I'm not getting banana. I'm not getting clove or anything like that. Speaking of clove, the thing with New England IPAs or hazy IPAs is that they, in my experience, they always tend to be tropical up front, and then they finish like really peppery, grassy flavor on the back end. And I'm not really getting that here. There is like a little bit of. There's definitely some bitterness, but not an insane amount of bitterness. And just, I think the alcohol is adding like a tiny little bit of like a spice to it. Almost like maybe like cinnamon or something like that. Or maybe a little peppercorn, but like the intensity is very, very low on this one. So I mean, I will say that it is a fairly simple palate, which it tends to be the thing, especially with hazy IPAs, because it's just all the hops all the time. No nuance to the malt. That's something I kind of miss from the old school IPAs. But I will say that the flavor that is here is pretty tasty and it's pretty good. It seems to be getting sweeter on each sip. I think there's like a residual, malty sweetness. It might, even though it's 10% ABV, it might be actually a little under attenuated. But yeah, it's pretty good. So for Pontoon Brewing Center of the Universe Triple IPA, yeah, I like it. I'm not in love with it, but I think it's solid for what it is, and I'm actually quite impressed on the fermentation control. Like I said, I mean, it's 10% ABV. That alcohol is, clean as a whistle. So I'm gonna rate this a solid 4 out of 5. It's not amazing, but it's not bad at all, and it's certainly better than average. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for the Center of the Universe Triple IPA. By the way, I actually got this at the beer museum down the road, and it was actually fresh. I think it was canned like 2 weeks ago. So it's like it's a miracle getting something that fresh here, and it wasn't that expensive either. I think it was like $4.99 for the can. That's pretty good for a full 16 ounce. Yeah. So no Tavour, no beer drop to plug. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys for next Tuesday night beer school. Cheers.
Somebody brewed it. Chad just reviewed it.
Thanks for watching Chad's Beer Reviews.
Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.